21, he's seen the fights. Johnny's 58, chasing the lights. Both had battles that brought them low, but they found a way to steal the show. Health concerns were weighing them down till they found a path that turned it around. Carnivore diet, they took the lead, finding strength in the promises they keep. Now they're living wild, living free, healing body and mind. Just wait and see. Tune into the truth every single week. Real talk with Brian and Johnny. That's the peak. 8 p.m. on YouTube. Gather near. Uplifting vibes. Let's give a cheer. Now they're on the mics, sharing their fight, telling the world how they found the light. Meat on the plate, it's a brand new start. With every bite, they're healing their hearts. Stronger and bolder, they're here to stay. Dropping wisdom, pushing fears away. Laughing at the troubles, rising high. Together they stand just like the sky. Now they're living wild, living free, healing body and mind. Just wait and see.
All right. We are live. Johnny, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. All right. So as you come in to watch the show, go ahead and say hi in the chat. If you have any questions, put a capital Q in front, and then that'll be easier to see. Cynthia is here. So looks like she's working on carrying a 5-gallon water up 2 flights of stairs. So she's getting her workout in right now. Let's see.
Well,
today,
40 pounds, 5 gallons of water is 40 pounds.
What's that? 5 gallons is 40 pounds?
Water is 40 pounds.
Wow. So there you go. That is a good workout.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. All right. So the topic tonight that we have, it has to do with eating out and best fast food restaurant type of hacks. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit tonight. We're each going to give you some hacks, and then I want to hear from all of you in the audience as well. So comment on different things you have, especially because I'm going out of town starting this weekend, Saturday morning, and I'm going to be out of town. So I need all the good hacks that there are, not just the ones that Johnny and I have. So let us know what hacks you've got as well, so that I can stay good when I'm on my out of town thing. So let's just get right into it. Best fast food hacks, restaurant hacks. Johnny, I'll let you get us started. What's a good hack that you have for that, for eating out?
Well, Brian, I don't know if you guys have them up there in Virginia, but there's a restaurant, fast food restaurant down here called Culver's. It originated in Wisconsin, and it's kind of worked its way across the country. They sell burgers and chicken strips and things like that. They have fried fish too, cod, but they actually, on the register, they can sell you the beef patties a la carte. You can get it with cheese or without, and then you get a side of bacon for $2. So the patties, they're quarter-pound patties, but they're like smash burgers, so they're really, really thin. But I can go there and get 5 patties a la carte. And I usually don't get the cheese because it's Wisconsin cheese, so it's probably pretty good. But then I usually get like 2 sides of bacon. So it's about $12, but it's 5 patties and I think 6 strips of bacon for about $12. And they give you a fork, to eat it. And so that's one of my favorite hacks. I don't know if you guys have Culver's where you are, whether you're watching this live or watching in the replay. But if there's a Culver's, that's one restaurant that seems to kind of lend itself to the carnivore community because they will sell you the patties a la carte for a good bit cheaper than buying the burger itself.
Okay. So I don't have a Culver's by me. I take it that's more of like a fast food place, kind of like a McDonald's, that type of thing.
Yeah, kind of like a Wendy's. Maybe it's a little above McDonald's. The quality of food, the pricing is like if you get a burger there, it's like $7 or $8. So it's a little more expensive. I said that the hack there is that they'll sell you the burger patties a la carte. But they started out in Wisconsin. If you go into the state of Wisconsin, they're on every exit off every interstate. They're ubiquitous, kind of like McDonald's is here. In Charlotte, we have Bojangles Chicken on every exit. So if you're up around the Midwest, and they've really started moving south and east, they're really good. They have the highest quality food. All their beef comes from Wisconsin farms. All their cheese is genuine Wisconsin cheese, and they're a higher quality fast food. True, just maybe more expensive than the average fast food, but I think you get a higher quality.
Okay.
But while you're traveling, Brian, if you see one out there, man, that's a fantastic hack.
Yeah. I'm going down to South Carolina, so we'll see. I might run into one.
What part
all
of
right,
South
so
Carolina?
down by Charleston area.
Okay.
So I don't know what restaurants they have around there, but maybe they have them. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna give a hack for. So he gave you a fast food type of hack. I'm gonna give you one for more of a sit down place. I like to go to steakhouses, and there's some cool things you can do there. A lot of times, like I'll just use Texas Roadhouse as an example because I like to go there. They're not going to necessarily give you a cheaper price if you say you just want the steak and you don't want the sides, right? So you can try and look at the menu and get an idea of maybe what you can do with your sides. And here's something I do at Texas Roadhouse. So I'll get a steak. I don't know, I'll just say like some sort of ribeye or something. And you get two sides with that. Now, their salad, they have cheese and egg in the salad. So I will order the salad with just cheese and egg. So I'll say, I don't want anything else. I don't want the lettuce, any of that kind of stuff. I don't want salad dressing, just the cheese and the egg that comes with the salad. Depending on who the waiter is, waitress, they might look at me funny because I have had that happen before. They're like, let me find out if I can even do that. And then other times I get a waiter and they're like, okay, sure, no problem. So I'll do that as one of my sides. And another thing you can do is either you can order two of that, so double that, or I'll sometimes get the baked potato with basically the butter, the sour cream. They put bacon on it and cheese. And I'll say basically I just want the butter, sour cream, cheese, and bacon, and not the actual baked potato. Or if I don't feel like the waiter's really up to speed with what I'm doing, I'll just order the whole thing and I'll just scrape that stuff off the top and I'll give the baked potato to somebody else because nobody else in my family does the carnivore diet, right? So I'll do something like that. And that's a good way to get a little bit of extra food in there other than just a steak while you're out at a restaurant. And there's a lot of, I mentioned Texas Roadhouse. There's a lot of steakhouses that'll do that kind of thing. So that's something you can look into. Let's see. Cynthia's got a comment for us here. As long as you don't get Culver's cement mixer along with the burger. I don't know what the cement mixer is.
It's frozen custard.
Taco meat. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. And Taco John sells their taco meat a la carte also. I don't know Taco John's either. We don't have them by where I live in Virginia. But okay, so that's a good one that we might have to figure out, I guess. Do you have a Taco John's by you, Johnny?
Yes.
You heard of it? Yes.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's probably more of a North Carolina, South Carolina thing. So maybe when I'm going down there this weekend, I will find that place. And I'll have to keep that in mind. Taco meat a la carte. A la carte, I should say. Okay. That's a good one. So before we go into any more hacks, just a brief announcement. Next Wednesday, actually the next 2 Wednesdays, I'm going to be out of town, so I won't be live. But Johnny, I think you might be going live. Is that right? On Wednesday night?
Yes.
All right.
May bring in
Johnny
a
will still
special
be live.
guest.
There you go. So Johnny will still be live. So you'll be able to watch it on Johnny's channel, and he might have a guest and so forth with him. So instead of going to my channel, if you go to my channel next Wednesday, make sure you go to Johnny's channel. All right. Any other good hacks that you got, Johnny, for going out to eat?
Yeah, Brian, this is one that I found actually kind of by accident recently. There's a local barbecue place next to us. It's called R&R Barbecue. And my wife and I have been eating there for 20 years. It's really, really good. And they don't have it like on the main part of the menu, but on the to-go part of the menu, you can buy barbecue pork or barbecue or smoked brisket by the pound. And it's more expensive, but it's a full pound of meat. And you can get it basically a la carte. So if I get the pulled pork, I ask for it with no sauce. Or if I get the brisket, I want the fatty brisket with no sauce. And I just get a pound of that and I get me a cup of water. And it's a little more expensive than getting the, smaller portion, but it's a pound of meat. And I don't need any sides because it's a full pound. And so you could try even a local barbecue place. Find out if you're going to eat barbecue, if they sell their pork or their beef or the chicken, pulled chicken or whatever, if they sell it by the pound in like a to-go container, and just have them bring it to the table and eat it right there. So that was something that actually a waitress pointed out to me not long ago. And so now when we go to this particular barbecue house, I just get a pound of brisket in the to-go container and I eat it right there.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. You
Cynthia's
gotta
got
ask though,
another
Brian.
good
Sometimes you
one
gotta
for us.
just ask,
Yeah, yeah. Cynthia's got a good one for us. So her vegan daughter and her will split meals when she eats out. She'll eat the meat, and her daughter then will eat the rest. That's if you got somebody that's not really into the meat, that's a good way to do it, right? No matter where, like even if you go to like a steakhouse or something, you could each get like a steak meal with whatever sides, and then the carnivore person, which would, in my case me, would eat both steaks, and then the other person could eat the sides. It would work out great. Rick is here. Hello, Rick.
Rick,
Iguana is fast food. I want to
very
know
fast food.
how exactly Rick cooks his iguana.
Yeah, great
I wonder
question.
if he cooks it on the engine of his truck. I've seen him cook with his engine, with his truck engine before. I wonder if he's done iguana on there. Interesting minds want to know, Rick. Yep, Rick is here. Quack, quack.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
So like you were talking about when you go to Texas Roadhouse, my wife and I go to either Logan's Roadhouse or Texas Roadhouse pretty regularly. And like you, I'll go ahead and order the potato loaded or with just butter and sour cream. I ask for that on the side. And then I give my wife the baked potatoes. She likes them. So she'll have them for lunch the next couple of days. And that way I'm not wasting food. I'm not paying for something that I'm not getting. And my wife enjoys it. So we bring it home. Sometimes she'll eat it there depending on what side she gets. But usually we'll bring it home, put it in the fridge, and she can, put it in the oven, warm it up, and have it a couple of days later. They bring it like wrapped in foil. So it's that, like Cynthia was saying, it works out great if you can share so you don't waste and you don't, pay for something you don't get.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have done that before where I just went ahead and got the entire baked potato, scraped the stuff off it that I wanted to eat. And then, usually like I'll be with my wife or something and she's like, yeah, I'll eat the baked potato later or something, or my son or somebody like that. So we'll take it home. So that is a good way to do it. Rick says he does have videos on iguana cooking. I need to check out more videos on his channel. I watch a lot of his where he's riding his bike different places. Like he had more recently, there was a few different, like there was an Ace Hardware one and so forth. But yeah, I need to check some of those out. He says he has not cooked iguana on the engine yet, though. I want to see that. Let's try and get him to do a video for that. Rick says, "Forget Texas Roadhouse. He goes to Florida for roadkill." Yep. All right. Okay, so let's talk about some more hacks. I guess it's my turn. So, you talked about, I think it was called Culver's, right? Where they have the
Yep.
So if you don't have a place like that, you can have whether it's Wendy's or Burger King or McDonald's or something like that. You can go to one of those places, and typically Most of the time, they will let you order a la carte as well. McDonald's, like if you go to one where they have the kiosk inside to order, they have that right on the kiosk. Um, like a place like Burger King or Wendy's, I don't think they have anything like that listed on their menu. So I think you have to ask and request, and then it's going to be iffy as whether or not they do it. But I've seen people also, they'll order like, I don't know, 2 or 3 quarter pounders and say without the bun, ketchup, that kind of stuff. Then, take all that stuff off. And it's kind of the same thing. Unfortunately, you're paying a little bit more though, because you're paying for that whole thing instead of the a la carte burger. But those are some other options that you could try and do. Here you go. Rick says once he gets his truck up and running again, he's going to do the iguana on the engine. I can't wait to see that video. Great. Cynthia's got a question for us. Have you tried ball tip? I got some for $3 a pound now. And now I'm trying to figure out how to cook it. I don't know what ball tip is. Do you, Johnny?
I do not. I've not heard that before. I'm anxious. I'm kind of nervous to find out what ball tip is.
I was thinking the same thing here. Maybe it's supposed to be bowl. No, I don't know.
All right, Cynthia, you got to give us more information. We're both lost here.
Yeah, she can give us information. I'm going to try and look it up too. So while I'm looking it up, maybe you can give us another tip or something here.
Well, you talked about Brian. You talked about going to McDonald's, and I have ordered McDonald's on the kiosk to get the a la carte burger patties. But I do know, because I've seen it multiple times on Facebook and other social media, if you have the McDonald's app, it's very easy to order the a la carte patties on the app. I don't have the app on my phone because I don't go to McDonald's that often. But yeah, I think if you have the McDonald's app, then you can actually go on the app pretty easy. That way you can go through the drive-through versus going into the kiosk. So if you have the McDonald's app, apparently it's pretty easy to order the patties on the app. Now, I will say that I eat Wendy's a lot. There's a Wendy's right up the street from the hospital where I work, basically. And so it's very convenient for me to go to Wendy's. What I do at Wendy's, I order a triple Baconator, usually without the cheese, but sometimes I'll get the cheese. And I just say plain, no bun. And they put it in a little plastic container with a plastic lid, like a to-go container. And they know me so well now, when I go in there, they just start fixing it because I eat there all the time. But there's no discount in the price. I pay like $11 or $12 for that. But they have sparkling water at their fountain, and I love sparkling water. So I'll get that triple Baconator, no bun, plain, and then I get a medium, cup, and then I fill it up with their sparkling water, which that's really good. That's, to me, that's optimal. But it's about $13 for lunch for that. But when you're just trying to stay carnivore, sometimes it's worth the extra money.
Yep. Okay, so you learn something new every day. Ball tip is found in the bottom sirloin, along with the tri-tip, now that I've heard of, and flap.
I've heard tri-tip.
Ball tip is a cut that does well with cooking methods. And then, it cut off. It doesn't tell me, I think. It says it's very lean, less tender than higher quality steaks. But this cut can deliver satisfying entrees and great value. Ball tip steak. Interesting. Learn something new every day. I didn't know about that. And here she says, sorry, I forgot the middle school mentality. It's like around the hip bone. Yeah, and the thing I saw, it says it's the bottom sirloin. So you have the sirloin, tenderloin, top sirloin, and then at the very bottom is the bottom sirloin. So it's just in from the round part of the cow. So kind of near the back of the cow at the bottom.
I might try to put that in a crock pot with a little bit of whatever seasoning you use and a stick of butter, since it's so lean. When I cook things in my crock pot, Brian, I typically put an entire stick of Kerrygold salted butter in there. And that way I'm guaranteed to get a little more fat and a little more flavor. And if you put it on low and cook it for 6 or 8 hours, that might tenderize it up some. Or like she said, you can just grind it up.
I was thinking the same thing, like, slow cooking it might help to make it a little bit more tender. So very cool stuff. All right. Oh, there's an option how to tenderize it. Salting it, of course. Yeah. Marinating. Huh. Okay. Anyway. All right. So let's see. Charlie's here. Hello.
Hey, Charlie.
Charlie. Where are we at here? So it's 8:20. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about some different fast food and restaurant hacks. We'll probably get back into it here in a little bit. If anybody has any good hacks, like if you didn't hear at the beginning, I was saying that I'm going out of town this weekend, so I'm willing to hear any new good hacks that anybody has for going out. Because I'm probably gonna be eating out a lot. I'm going to be moving my daughter, the one that just graduated from Virginia Tech. Her and her boyfriend are moving down to South Carolina. They got a house together, and she's gonna be starting her new job in a couple weeks. But anyway, so we're gonna be moving them into the new house, and still have to install like a fridge and all that stuff. So probably gonna be a lot over the few days when we first move them of eating out, that kind of thing. So I need any tips anybody's got, especially in the South Carolina area. So put them in chat if you got any. All right, so let's go changing subjects just a little bit. Johnny, first of all, we'll start with you. You've been doing a lot of working out and so forth, doing a lot of sprints, that kind of stuff. And I know you show it on your channel all the time, your videos, but why don't you give us a quick update here of how things have been going? I know you've been changing your distances on your sprints a little bit, so interested to see a little bit more insight on that, how you're doing.
Yeah, Brian, I started out just doing the 40-yard dash. I watched Dr. Sean Baker. He and I are 1 month apart. I think he's a month older than me. I think he was born in February of 67. I was born in March of 67. And obviously, I would love my physique to look like his, but I'll probably never get there. But he talks about if you're healthy at different age brackets, like if you're between 60 and 70, you should be able to do this many push-ups and run a 40-yard dash in this time and carry your body weight. So he breaks it down in 10-year increments. So he and I are in that same space. So he says you should be able to run a 40-yard dash in 5.8 seconds or whatever. Well, I'm nowhere close to that. And I was just running the 40-yard dash each time. And I find that when I'm standing on the starting line, it looks like it's a mile to the finish line, even though it's just 40 yards. And I don't think I'm pushing as hard as I can, because in my subconsciously, I'm thinking I've got to save a little in reserve to make it all the way there. So I shortened the distance up to like 25 yards. And recently I started doing 20 yards to see if I can just go as hard as I can off the starting gate, if you will. And I notice when I do that, I do push off a whole lot harder, and my legs and my glutes, my butt, my back, and my arms are so much more sore because I'm putting so much total body effort into it. And so that's helped me. So I think I'm going faster for 20 yards, and then I started doing 30 yards. But if you watch my most recent video, the timing system that I bought, it's a laser-based timing system I bought off Amazon for $150. About half the time it works and half the time it doesn't. And I don't know what the remedy is. So I ordered me a new timing system with a different type of laser that uses a laser and a reflector, where the old one uses two lasers that have to match up. This is just a laser and a reflector. So supposedly it's better. And it was, twice what the other one cost. And it just came today. So next time I run sprints, I'll use that. And it's got a better display. It displays your time. It's red on black. What I have now is kind of gray on black, so it's really hard to see. So hopefully that'll improve the quality of those videos if anybody cares to watch this old fat guy run 40 yards or 30 yards, But that's going really good. I've really got back into doing push-ups. As you know, Brian, we'll talk about this a little bit. Your 3-year carniversary, which you've done a couple of videos about, matches up with my 2-year carniversary. So I just hit 2 years. And to celebrate my 2-year carniversary, I'm doing a 100-hour fast, which will be my longest fast that I've ever done. And I'm going to focus on doing 60 push-ups a day, every day for the month of July. And then once my fast is over, I'm going to go just do lion diet for the balance of the month. So just trying to throw everything I've got at it for this month to see what kind of changes I can make if I really, really focus on like losing weight, building muscle, and all that stuff just for the month of July. When I started Carnivore July 1st, 2023, it was a drastic change from anything I'd ever done before. And I saw great results. So I thought if I mix things up and change it up some for this 31 days, then maybe we can see some good results. But so far, Brian, I know we've talked about me coming to your place and we could do some sprints together and maybe do one of your workouts together. If you ever start doing sprints, it's pretty addictive. I love it. It's my favorite exercise because it you can do it in 20 minutes basically. If you're not setting up cameras and all that stuff, you can in 20 minutes you're done. And like I did my sprints yesterday morning, and today I'm gassed. I have nothing in the tank today because I put it all out there yesterday, and I only worked out for 30 minutes yesterday. I did push-ups and I did skip some rope, and I did the sprints, and I am absolutely tanked today to show you the amount of effort that I put into it in a short period of time.
And those 60 push-ups a day, that sounds like a challenge. So that sounds like your July challenge. That's going to be rough with the sprints, don't you think?
Well, I've been doing like 4 sets of 15, and today I did 3 sets of 20. Well, I've done 2. I've still got 1 more to do. When we get off, I'll do my last set. But it's not too bad. Over the course of a whole day, if you can do 4 sets, just drop down and do 15, and then a couple hours later do 15. It's actually working out pretty good. I was going to do 100 a day, but I'm not there anymore. I could have done it a year and a half ago, but right now 60 is where I'm at. Maybe by next month I'll get up to 80 a day or whatever. But I can do 6 sets of 10 or 4 sets of 15, or like today 3 sets of 20, and it's not too bad.
All right, Charlie agrees. That's quite a bit of a challenge. So good luck with it. And I assume that you're going to keep us updated in videos and so forth throughout the month.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Going back to where I was asking if anybody has any good, boy, I can't think tonight, but if anybody has any good tips, hacks, tricks, whatever for going out, Charlie says buy a man purse so you can bring some purse bacon with you wherever you go. Yeah. I think that I could always probably use my wife's purse for that, but we'll see. I don't know. What I'd rather kind of do is try not to eat very much. Like obviously just eat 1 meal a day if possible, but it could be challenging because when I eat 1 meal a day, I eat quite a bit of food, and that's hard going out to eat unless you're eating like a couple meals or something. I don't know. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, they do have I think they have a Blackstone grill. So maybe I'll have to, coerce them into getting that set up and ready right away when they move in, buy some steaks or something so we could just eat at the house. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But it's interesting because I do have to say it'll be interesting to see how this goes for me, because I'm talking about like trying to eat 1 meal a day, and that's how I have been doing for quite a while. But over the last week or two, I've been eating like 3 meals a day. It's been crazy. And it's really, I think, kind of goes back to when I was feeling sick there for a little bit, and I think that I just felt like I wasn't going to worry about things. If I was hungry, I was just going to eat. And I've noticed that I'm eating more often right now, and I'm eating quite a bit of food. So like normally I might eat, I don't know, 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of beef in a day, a lot of times in one setting or something. I might be eating more like 3 pounds of beef right now. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like if you've seen some of the people talking about like priming, where they might do like a couple weeks of priming or something like that. I know Professor Barkay has talked about it. I think My Zero Carb Life. I always forget her name.
Kelly Hogan.
Kelly Hogan, yes. I think she's talked about it and so forth. So that's kind of how I feel like I've been the last couple of weeks. Maybe because of getting sick, I've lost some of the nutrients that I had in my body, or I'm deprived of them a little bit. So I've been kind of priming. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes this weekend. Let's see. Let me catch up on. We got some new comments here. Cynthia says, I like sprinting on my stationary bike. I did my 100 push-ups today due to Johnny's challenge. I'm not on the floor yet, though, so it isn't as oppressive as Johnny. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just compare yourself to yourself. So maybe you did 100 push-ups, but you didn't get all the way down, right? And then within a few days or something, maybe you're getting lower or getting down all the way to the floor. I'll tell you, when I do push-ups, I don't get all the way down to the floor either, and I'm not worried about it because I know that I'm improving, and that's just where I'm at. And somebody else might be at a better point where they can do that, but I'm not, and I admit it, and I'm okay with it because I'm just trying to improve myself from one day to the next rather than worrying about comparing myself to somebody else. It's great to see what other people are doing because you can get ideas from them, but don't compare yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So what else we got here? Charlie says, realizing that carnivore is part of the human diet spectrum, it's made me ask what proper human movement is, and the resting deep squat came up. Trying to do 10 minutes total a day this week. That's good stuff. Cynthia says she used to do wall push-ups, then kitchen counter, and now she's at the weight bench. Not on the floor yet. Hey, you're improving every time, right? That's the key. All right. Do you have any other hacks, tips, tricks for eating out at restaurants that you can give me, Johnny?
Yeah, I just want to back up real quick. So Darth Carnivore was talking about doing the resting squats, and it's funny because I've been looking at that a lot too. Now, I have really tight calves and really tight ankles, so I can't squat all the way down. So I recently ordered off Amazon, of course, this little board that's like, I know it's maybe 18 inches wide, and it's at an angle, and you put your feet on it, and it gets your ankles up so that you can squat, and then you get stronger at squatting, and then you just reduce the angle, and then you practice the next angle, and eventually you get where your feet can be flat on the floor, and you can do those squats. But resting squats that's how people sat before chairs were invented. They would just squat down, and it's really good for your lymphatic system. That's kind of how we're designed. That's why our knees and our ankles and our hips are designed the way they are, so we could squat down. And before we had toilets that were up off the ground, I'm sure that's how people maybe 10,000 years ago may have used the restroom, by just squatting down. So I don't know. That's a really, really good idea. And that's ironic that he said that, because that's kind of been my focus here recently, is trying to do more squats, because when you squat down and stand back up, you're using the largest muscles in your body, your calves, your quads, your glutes. It's a lot of muscles to squat down and stand back up. And then if you can get to where you can squat down and stay down, man, that's really discipline there. And now, if you start out staying down 10 seconds, and like you said, Brian, just compare yourself to yesterday or day before yesterday, and just keep working. I think some of the healthiest people, the influencers that I follow on social media, they can just squat down and stay down for long periods of time. Now, most of them are not my age or your age, but there's no reason why, if we work hard at it, we can't get back to that. But Brian, let me talk about one last hack. So as I said, for my month of July 1st, or my carniversary, 2-year carniversary, I'm doing a 100-hour fast. Well, my record, I think I did 88 hours one time. So this will beat my record, the longest fast I've ever done. And let me show you this, Brian. If you can see this, can you see that? I don't know if it's turned right on the screen, but so my wife and I, for dinner tonight, went to Jim and Nick's barbecue, but I'm fasting. So she ate. She had a really good meal. She had the pulled smoked chicken, which is one of the best things on their menu, to be honest with you. And I had unsweetened tea. So you can just fast. You can go out to eat and be part of the celebration, or part of the the fellowship with your family or your friends, and you can just order unsweet tea or just a glass of water, and still be a part of it. You don't necessarily have to eat. Or if you're not fasting, but you want to go out with friends, maybe co-workers or whatever, or people after church, just eat a pound of ground beef, eat a bunch, maybe get some boiled eggs, take with you whatever, or some purse bacon, and go ahead and eat before you go, so that you can still go and be a part of the social part of eating, just not partake in the stuff that most restaurants offer. So there's a way around it. There's an unsweet tea. I went to Jim and Nick's, and I'm here to tell you, man, that food smells so good. I'm 61 and a half hours into my fast right now. So 4th of July, Friday, I'm going to eat, I think we're going to have some ribs, and my wife's going to do in the Instapot, and I'm going to make some burger patties on it's not a Blackstone, it's a knockoff of a Blackstone. I got it at Sam's. But so we're going to have that for the 4th, and that will be my meal to break my fast. Will be ribs and the Instapot and some burger patties. So 12 o'clock on Friday will be me breaking my 100-hour fast. But I was able to go out and sit around all that food, watch my wife eat, and the bread was sitting right there in front of me. And I was able to abstain from all of it because when I thought about giving in and saying, oh, I could just get a carnivore meal and just, but then it occurred to me that I am worth fighting for. And it's a fight. It's a fight to go in a restaurant when you're 60 hours fasted and not get anything. But I've determined that my health, I'm worth fighting for. And so I abstained, and I'm looking really forward to Friday when I can have some ribs. When my wife cooks these ribs in the Instapot, it kind of pressure cooks them, and the bones are so soft. I end up eating the bones too. I know it sounds crazy, but they're really soft and tender. So I eat the meat and I eat the bones. So I get the bone marrow and all that stuff too. No barbecue sauce, just the ribs with some salt.
Yep. Well, I got to say, that's a great tip. Once or twice in the past, I have done that where I went out to eat. I don't remember. I think it was more than just my wife. There's a few of us there. And I didn't eat anything. I had already ate earlier in the day, I think, or something. I just wasn't hungry. And yeah, that's a good way to do it if you've already eaten or whatever, or if you're fasting, like in your case, because I still had a great time. Everybody was talking and so forth. And I was able to talk and be a part of the conversation. I had drank water, and that was it. So it was great. Let's see. Let me catch up on some things here. So Rick says he has not eaten out at all this year. And that's something that's been really hard for me. Probably I'm thinking the same thing for you, Johnny, because my wife doesn't do carnivore. So she likes to go out every once in a while. And really anybody in my family, if anybody's at home, which is not always people home, but sometimes there are people back home. But they'd like to go out to eat too. So I try and find the best options, or like you had just talked about, the whole fasting option where you don't eat. So it's probably more of a challenge for us than it would be for Rick, because, Rick doesn't have that at home. And well, let's face it, he's got the ducks there and everything, right? The iguana and stuff. So he can make his own food. But yeah, so that's an interesting one. Talking about, yeah, I was going to bring this up too. So when you're talking about the squats, Rick says he still sits like that when working. I want to bring this up. In high school, I played basketball in high school for the school team, and we had to do that. We called it basketball position, but so basically kind of have your hands up like this, but you're in that squat, right, for as long as you can go. And we used to have, sometimes just in practice, we had to do it for a certain amount of time. Other times it was a contest to see who could stay the longest without dropping. So that would usually go good 20-30 minutes. That was crazy. But I remember doing that stuff in high school. I haven't done any of that since then. I should really try that and see. I bet you I can't go more than a couple minutes at this point. It'd be interesting to see, though. Kaleidoscope Mind is here. Hello. He or she, I'm sorry, I don't know who it is, says, I used to love Arizona tea. Yesterday it gave me heartburn. I wonder what's in Arizona tea because it's such a high, big known brand name. I bet you there's probably sugar of some sort, even if they have like one of the fake sugars listed. I don't know. Do you know what's in Arizona? I don't know. Might
I
have to look
don't.
that one
I'm
up.
familiar with the brand. My wife, I think we got some downstairs that my wife gets, but I've never really read the ingredients. But that's interesting. It gave her heartburn. A quick story about heartburn.
Yeah.
I used to work for the fire department in Augusta. I was a firefighter for a lot of years when I lived in Augusta, Georgia, and we would always make Kool-Aid. It was too expensive. You know, we didn't make any money back then. This is back in the '80s, late '80s, early '90s. And so we would make Kool-Aid every day at the fire station. And we during the summer we would drink Kool-Aid instead of getting soda. We just drank Kool-Aid because it was a lot cheaper. And Brian, I used to have heartburn so bad. The GERD was just, and this before I ever got in the medical field. And I had a part-time job working overnight at the Augusta National Golf Course where they play the Masters. I was a security guard at the Augusta National. And one night I was out there and I used to eat Tums by the handful. I mean, I would go to Sam's and buy this huge box of Tums, chewables, and I would eat them, you know, throughout the week. And one night I was at the golf course and it was like 2:30 in the morning and I started throwing up black, like coffee grounds. I said, I haven't eaten coffee grounds. What the heck is this? I had a bleeding ulcer. My stomach was literally bleeding. And
Wow.
not long after that, I moved to Charlotte. My wife and my kids stayed behind for a year because my wife had signed a contract to teach the next year. Plus, she had to get her house on the market and sell the house. So I came on to Charlotte, and I quit working for the fire department. I was working for the ambulance service, and I got it from Kool-Aid. And I noticed that my heartburn went away. Of course, I didn't equate it with Kool-Aid, but for a month straight, I didn't have heartburn. And then one day I was at the grocery store and I bought some Kool-Aid and some sugar, of course. And I made a picture of cherry Kool-Aid for a house. I had a little small apartment. It was just me. And man, it lit me up. And then I started putting two and two together. And there was something, I don't care if it was grape Kool-Aid, lemonade, cherry Kool-Aid, raspberry. It gave me heartburn. It was literally eating my stomach away. And I quit drinking Kool-Aid in 2002. And from 2002 to right now, I have not had a single case of heartburn. It was something, one weird ingredient in Kool-Aid that my body just didn't agree with. And knowing now what I know being a paramedic, I probably should have gone to the hospital. I was bleeding internally from Kool-Aid. Yeah, don't drink the Kool-Aid, exactly. So there might be something in that Arizona tea that might not give somebody else heartburn, but it's giving that the kaleidoscope whatever heartburn.
Yeah.
For me, it was
while you
Kool-Aid.
were talking, I looked up on Google AI about it, what the ingredients are, and it says typically common components of Arizona iced tea are sweeteners like high fructose corn syrup or cane sugar, citric acid, and natural flavors. Natural flavors, another type of fake sugar. So it's probably some kind of sugar in there that's causing a problem. Let's catch up on some more comments here. So Charlie says, congrats on your carniversaries, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
If you missed that part, on July 1st, so yesterday, Johnny hit 2 years on the carnivore diet. And on July 1st, I hit 3 years on the carnivore diet. So I started July 1st, 2022, and Johnny started July 1st, 2023. So thank you. Charlie actually just hit a carniversary as well. We like to call him carniversary. And I don't remember how many years it was, but I remember you had commented in one of my videos about going and getting was it like a steak cake or something like that at the restaurant? So that was pretty cool. Where they did like a candle and everything for you. So I thought that was pretty cool. Charlie also says, may the 4th be with you, Johnny, especially when you break your 100-hour fast. That's going to be a true 4th of July feast when you break that fast.
Yeah. I hope I don't tear my stomach
You're showing your nerdom. Yep. I wanted to get to this here. Bradley, I'm not sure where this was coming from, but he had said meat. He's also once had said, don't drink the Kool-Aid. So Bradley, hello. I don't think we got a chance to say hello before, but I see you're new in the chat here. So you've probably been on before, but anyways, hello. Good to see you out there. Let's see. Try and catch up other stuff. What do I have started? Okay. Rick, heartburn, ulcers. What other health problems have I avoided?
Yeah.
I mean, this is so true. Rick, if you've watched his videos, like he's 57 years old, but he doesn't look at it like he doesn't have any gray hair. He's not losing his hair or anything like, I got the receding hairline or anything. He's very nimble. Like you should see like the things he can move his leg like above his head and stuff like that. This guy 42, 41, 42. I can never get it right. I think it's 42 years on the carnivore diet. Incredible how it's age defying when you've been eating the right foods for so long. Just incredible. Here you go. Charlie's 2 years in June. It was 2 years in June for him. And there you go. It was since August of 1983 for Rick. So in a month, he will be at 42 years. 42. Crazy. Cynthia says, especially don't drink the Kool-Aid if given to you from a gentleman who calls himself Jim Jones. I don't know that.
Yeah, don't drink that Kool-Aid. Brian, that's a
Who's
little
Jim
before
Jones?
your time. There was this guy years ago had this cult following, and he got this is terrible to say, but this is if you can research it. He got a bunch of people to drink this poison Kool-Aid. They knew it was poison, and they fed it to their children, and all of them died on purpose. And he was the leader of some kind of cult. I don't remember if he died, but everybody that was following him drank this poison-laced Kool-Aid, knowing it was poisoned, and gave it to their kids and killed all of them. So Jim Jones, people that are my age, or maybe Cynthia's age, would be very familiar with that because it made national news for like a month. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Wow.
So
I'm not that much younger.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. I know.
I'm 51. I'm not that much younger, but I don't know that for some reason.
Well, I think I was 12 or
sheltered
13
child
when it happened. So if I was 13, you would have been 6 or 7, somewhere there. So it's probably you wouldn't have known about it at that age. But so that's where the expression "don't drink the Kool-Aid." That's where that expression comes from.
Interesting. Very interesting. Rick says he had a subscriber say that he reminded him of Jim Jones. That's not good.
Not
I
good.
don't know
Hopefully
who
that
Jim
was
Jones
for
is, but that's not good.
Look.
Thea says, now that I think about it, you do have a bit of Jim Jones look about you, Rick. Oh no. Rick has the heart attack diet look, not the Jim Jones diet. That sounds too scary to me. By the way, Cynthia was 2 years on April Fool's Day. Does it count if it's April Fool's Day? Because you're probably over there like, yeah, I'm 2 years carnivore. And they're like, April Fool's. What are you talking about, carnivore? What's carnivore? Poor Cynthia. I just played with you. Oh. Okay, here's more about the Kool-Aid. I think they drank the Kool-Aid because Halley's Comet was coming. And the story was that if you drank the Kool-Aid, then Halley's Comet would take you to heaven. I remember something with Halley's Comet. I was really young. I think I said comment. I meant comet. But I was really young. But I don't remember the story about the Kool-Aid. That's very interesting. The People's Temple. I'm not sure. Is that part of it?
The compound that Jim Jones had.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. So now I know why they say to stay away from the Kool-Aid. I'd still stay away from it anyways, even without that, but that's crazy. Okay. All right. It would not, what does it say? It would not be Jonestown, it would be Quackville for Rick, yes. The heart attack diet in Quackville.
That's right.
The Heaven's Gate cult. So that's the People's Temples, the Heaven's Gate cult. Is that what it was? Okay.
There was another one too, where these people. It was a comet called Hale Bop or Hale something comet, and all these people went out and bought very specific sneakers, and they all committed suicide. but they all had the exact same sneakers on because they thought they would need those sneakers when they got into heaven. That was several years after Jim Jones. That might have been the other one.
No, I remember there was a guy that kept predicting the end of the world. And the first time I think he predicted, or the time that I remember is the first time, I think I was like a teenager. And I remember everybody was talking about it. It was going to be at like 3 p.m. It was like the middle of the day or something like that. And then nothing happened. And then like a week later, he's like, oh, I forgot about something with the calendar. And it's going to be like 8 years from now or something. So then like 8 years later, everybody's like, okay, is it going to happen? And then nothing happened. And this went on like 3 or 4 different times with this guy. He's like, oh no, I got something else wrong with the calculation. It's going to be in 5 more years. And then it never happened.
Eventually he'll be right if he lives long enough.
Yeah. Heaven's Gate was the one waiting for the comment. Okay. His memory is amazing. All right, Rick. That's funny. All right. Let's see. So we talked about different hacks. We got more people watching now than we did earlier. So if anybody has any good hacks for eating out, put them in the comments. I'd like to hear them. Just for everybody to hear them for one thing, but also a bit selfish is that I'm going out of town this weekend and I need some good hacks for eating out. I've given a few, Johnny's given a few, but we'd like to hear some more. And if you have any questions for us, just put a Q in the front and put that in the chat and we can answer those questions as best as we can. I'm going to ask you a question here, Johnny. So you talk a lot about your sprints. Do you have a particular eating pattern based on your sprints? So like, do you try and eat so much before or so much after you sprint? And kind of a double question, like you're doing a fast right now. Are you still doing sprints when you're fasted? And if you do, how does your energy seem to be? Does it seem, because I've heard some people say like they seem to have more energy when they're fasting. So you can kind of answer those questions for me.
Sure. Well, yes, I'm going to continue to work out, do my push-ups and do my sprints while fasting. I typically do my sprints fasted because I do my sprints, try to get early in the morning before it gets too hot. And then I don't usually eat until between like 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, I'm pretty well fasted for like 20 hours when I do my sprints. But yes, even during this 100-hour fast, I plan on still doing my workout. And if you think about it, Brian, when we were hunter-gatherers a million years ago or 10,000 years ago or whatever, if you didn't catch and kill something on Monday, by God, Tuesday, you better. And if not on Tuesday, by Wednesday. So you do have increased energy, increased focus. Everything is heightened when you fast. I mean, I mean, it's almost a spiritual thing. It really focuses you really, on everything, because when we were hunter-gatherers, if your energy level had gone down, you would be less likely to catch food and kill it and eat it, or you would have been more likely to be, eaten by something. So every day you fast, probably up until 4 or 5 days, you just get more and more energy, more and more focus. You feel lighter on your feet because 20,000 years ago, if your energy level went down, you were pretty much guaranteed to die. So every day you go without eating, up to a certain extent, I'm sure, because even right now, I have more energy now than I did. And I haven't eaten in 61 hours. So going to continue to work out. I will monitor though and see how I feel. I was a little sluggish earlier today when my wife and I were kind of remodeling the upstairs of our house, and so been very busy with that. I didn't do any workout today other than the push-ups because we got so much going on at the house. And I was a little sluggish today, but I worked out really, really hard yesterday. If you saw my video, sweat was just running off my face. And that's one of the toughest workouts I've done in a while. So I think my lack of energy today is more related to how hard I worked out yesterday versus not having any food intake.
Okay. Let me ask you another question.
One more thing, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just thought of this hack. This is something I do. Do you guys have the QT convenience store where you are? It's called QT Quick Time. Well,
No.
a lot of convenience stores have those roller grills where they have the little things, on the roller grill, like hot dogs and taquitos and things like that. So a lot of
Yep.
times I'll go to the big gas station here is called QT, and they have all beef hot dogs on there. And I'll get me like 3 all beef hot dogs. They're like $2.99 for the first one, and then $2 for each one after that. And I'll just get the hot dogs, no bun. And I usually get me a couple packs of mustard, and I will put a little mustard on the hot dogs. And sometimes I eat them without mustard. But that's really inexpensive, really quick, really convenient. And as you get the all beef ones, you're probably getting some liver and some heart and stuff in there as well because it's a hot dog. And I'm sure some of those organ meats are in there. But that's a great hack and save you some money. And especially if you're on the road traveling, that might be something that you could give that a try.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you, going back really quick to your fasting and talking about having good energy. How does that affect, or does it not affect, when you are trying to go to sleep? Did you have too much energy sometimes where it makes it harder to sleep?
No, because I work out so hard that I recently bought me this Fitbit. I got it off Amazon. It's a Model 3, so it's like 2 generations. It's only $75, and it it tracks my sleep, and then I have an app that I can, and it seems like I'm sleeping better and better. My wife actually bought me one of those eye masks to black out all the light, and I try to keep the fan on and keep it cooler in my bedroom. But so far, now I do see that I wake up earlier, so I go to sleep no problem. But I tend to wake up about 4:30 or 5 in the morning, just on fire, ready to get up and just go right then. And so that's almost a benefit, because I can get out and get to the park and do my sprints really before it gets hot, because I don't ever set the alarm clock. I wake up, especially when I'm fasting, I wake up between 4:30 and 5:30 in the morning. And when I wake up, I am absolutely bursting with energy. The longer I fast, the more true that is every morning. But I don't have any trouble going to sleep.
Okay. I'm gonna catch us up on some comments. Rick was talking about carrying a portable grill or engine pots. Yeah, a portable grill, it's something that I've thought about, especially now because my pellet grill I have is kind of on its last legs, and I got to figure out something new, but I don't know. So I might actually get a portable grill, and then that way I can take it when I go somewhere. Cynthia says, I only eat out 1 or 2 times a year, more than Rick does, but still not up to any recommendations. She doesn't have any recommendations. That's okay. I'll let it slide this time. Rick says, once I fix my pressure washer, I'll show you how to make an engine cooking pot. Sweet. Bradley says, I don't enjoy the fast food patties because they are so well done. That's true. I usually plan and pack my own burgers that are half cooked and eat those. That's a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. Oh, next part to this, but I've been thinking, in a pinch, I'd get a steak from grocery store and eat it raw. So this is like a mental thing for me. I'm really I know that there's other people out there that'll eat raw. I have a hard time thinking that I'm going to eat something raw. But here's the funny thing. I like my steaks like rare to medium rare at the most. So it's not much different than raw probably, but I just can't bring myself mentally to eat the raw steak. What do you think about that, Johnny? Could you eat raw steak?
I haven't yet. Now, my wife and I went to Logan's Roadhouse recently, and I ordered the Logan. It's a 10-ounce sirloin, and I ordered it medium, and they brought it medium rare. And I ate it, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. That's the rarest meat I have ever eaten. Ironically, this morning I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I decided to go outside as the sun came up so I could get some good morning sun. And I was barefoot, so I was doing my grounding, and I had my phone, so I watched Dr. Kilt's his morning thing, and he had Alia Wells on there and a couple other people, Dr. Nelson, and they were talking about eating raw. And what Dr. Kiltz is doing and Dr. Nelson is doing, they'll take a steak, salt it really good on both sides, and put it in the refrigerator on a rack so the air can get all around it. and what they call, I guess, dry brine it or whatever for a couple of days, and then just eat it. And Dr. Kilt said pretty much that's pretty much the way he's eating everything now. And it, it sounds crazy to me, but I did enjoy that medium rare steak brine much more than I thought I would. And I'm not quite ready to go raw yet, but I'm not averse to maybe trying it one day. I'm definitely going to start ordering my steaks medium rare if I go out, and I'm going to start cooking my. I'm like Bradley here. I've got where I cook my hamburgers only about halfway through. I used to cook it, to charcoal. That was kind of the norm. And if you go out to eat, I think they're trying to avoid lawsuits, so they're always going to cook it well. But I'm going to start cooking my burger patties for their, pretty much not cooked in the middle. One thing I have learned in this journey is the more you cook things, the more you kill the nutrients in it. You really destroy it. And if you put it in a microwave, you're pretty much guaranteed to kill all the nutrients in it. So I don't use my microwave anymore, hardly ever at all. And I'm starting to cook my food much less, more rare. But Brian, maybe we'll do that one day. Maybe we'll have a challenge on here. We'll both try some raw steak and see what happens.
Yeah, I'll have to get past my mental block with that. But I do like medium rare. Like, I'll order medium rare when I go out. And a lot of times when I cook it myself, it's probably a cross between rare and medium rare. But I don't know. It seems hard for me.
You're almost there. You're almost there.
I know. Florida man is here. Hello. He says Jiffy stores. That was when you were talking about the convenience place, I think. So
yeah,
I'm
probably
catching up here. We're a few minutes back. Charlie says, I like to bring fatty beef sticks from Kroger. Those come in handy on vacation. I've gotten was it the chomps? I've gotten those before. Those aren't too bad for you. So yeah. Greg is here. Hello, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Doing good. Rick has no problems eating raw meat.
Rick, have you ever had raw iguana?
I wonder. So Edward, I think this is the first chat from Edward too. So hello, Edward. He says never overlook rat meat. I don't know if he means rat meat or raw meat. I don't know.
Raw meat.
Well, I don't know.
Rick
eats
iguanas.
iguanas.
About rat meat.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one. Where are we at? Okay, talking about the raw. Just start with one bite raw sometimes, and eventually you'll probably get over it. I'm gonna have to work on that one because I definitely have a mental block with it. Microwave has not been turned on since Mom died over 5 years ago. So, here's an interesting thing. I got in my basement, I don't know, a year or so ago, maybe more than that. I started working on making like a man cave down there, right? I got the one wall, I got 3 TVs and stuff. And we got a fridge, just a little bit of a smaller fridge, but fridge and freezer that we put in there. And we found a microwave that was cheap that my wife bought and put the microwave down there so I could use that as well. And that was like year and a half ago. I've never used the microwave. I don't know. It's the same things like you were talking about, the microwave's probably not a good idea. Not only is it going to cook up the nutrients, but who knows what else it's doing to it. So I don't really use a microwave either. Greg's going to pass on the rat meat. I don't know if he was saying raw meat and there was a typo, or if he's actually said rat meat. That's what I'm wondering right now. Cynthia's been eating raw salmon or sashimi, which sounds better.
Sashimi.
So
yeah,
isn't raw salmon? Maybe that's something different. Maybe that's tuna. What is it that I'm thinking of? Sushi? Is that
sushi,
what is that? Is that raw salmon?
I think there's tuna, different kinds of fish, but I think there's salmon sushi as well.
Okay. Rick's never ate raw iguana. Yeah, I don't know. Never ate rat, but ate squirrels.
They're just big furry rats.
I've heard of people eating squirrels. I just never heard of rat before, so I don't know. I'm wondering about that one. Squirrel fried in beef tallow. Speaking of beef tallow, did you see Costco has beef tallow now for sale?
Yep.
Rick's microwave is from the early 80s. I cook with biogas.
Biogas, yeah.
Okay.
Spent cooking oil.
Okay. Sushi includes rice and seaweed. But sushi is raw, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Or maybe it's just slightly cooked or something like that. I don't know. I've never had sushi, actually. Have you had sushi?
Yeah.
Okay, so neither one of us
Never
have.
had.
That's interesting. Greg says air fryers do wonders. Yes.
Love my air fryer.
I've got three? I think I got 3 different air fryers, but I got the tasty air fryer is the one that I use most of the time when I use an air fryer. Since it's warmer, I've been cooking out on my pellet grill a lot more. But in the wintertime, I will either use my air fryer, like to cook steaks, burgers, whatever, or I do like to cook steak sometimes in an oven and then finish it off in like a cast iron pan or something like that. But a lot of times in the wintertime, I'm using my air fryer. So I love using an air fryer as well. See, I think in some countries you can get a bunch of grilled mice on a stick from a street vendor.
Yep. In Asia. That's really big in Asia.
Greg says sushi challenge. So if there's a sushi challenge, which I don't know, for me, that's worse than doing the sardine challenge. But if there is, we got to have Greg come on with us. And it'll be the 3 of us.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I can
Absolutely.
do sushi, though. That's another one of those mental blocks for me. So I don't know. We'll see. Rick's biogas is made from yard waste and poop. I believe he's talking about maybe the duck poop. Sushi meat is raw, so I was right there. Okay. Fry in a pot with air. That would be an oven. Yep. All right. I am caught up on our comments again. Again, if anybody has any good ideas for tips and tricks for eating out, whether it's a fast food or a sit-down restaurant, whatever, I'd like to hear them. Getting ready to go. I'm actually going out of town this weekend. Gonna be out for like 5 days. I come back for like 2 or 3 days, and then I'm out of town again for like another week. So I got a lot of out of town trips coming up here, which also is why I'm not going to be on the lives the next 2 weeks. Johnny's going to be doing them, maybe with the guest, I think he said. So, and then I'll be back in a couple weeks where I can probably talk about how I did on my trips. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But we'll always have a good topic to do on the show. So let's see. All right. We are pretty much. Oh, wait. What does Greg say? Eat at home before you go out to eat.
Yep.
That's true. That's definitely a good one. Except for like in my case this weekend, we're moving my daughter into a new house, and I don't think we're going to have access really to like a fridge or anything like that for a couple days. So eating out is probably my only way to eat. I don't know.
Hey, Brian.
I could always try the fasting thing, but yeah.
So I thought of something else, another hack, and this is not really a hack, but if you see a Golden Corral, one of those buffet type restaurants, Golden Corral, the one here, I don't know if this is nationwide, but the one here in Charlotte, actually up in Concord, they have steak on the grill, and that's just sirloin, but they have steak on the grill every day. And they used to just do it on the weekends. Now it's every day. And it's all you can eat, and they'll cook it to whatever level you want it cooked. And they have pot roast. And man, I can go in there and for like $14 or $15 because I get the senior citizen discount because I'm over 55. Just really pig out on steak and roast. Now it's tempting because the dessert bar is right there, so you got to watch out for that. But yeah, that's be a way you could really eat that one meal a day and really, really get satiated, get satisfied, not spend a ton of money, and go until the next day So that's not really a hack, but it kind of is because you can get just meat and it's the same price.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good one. I have been at Golden Corral, I don't know, it was a while back, maybe 6 months ago or something like that. And I did keep going up there and getting the steak. And I think on my third or fourth trip, because the guy kept asking, like, what do you want? Like medium rare or whatever. You didn't even ask him where he was just like, oh, here comes that guy again. Here. But yes. All right, where are we at? Bradley says my favorite is Texas Roadhouse bone-in ribeye. He gets it rare. If I get it, which I do get some, it's either that or like I think they have a boneless ribeye, but it's not quite as big. But I usually get it medium rare, but he gets it rare, which I'd probably be fine with rare. He says butter and sea salt only, $36. Yep. So great. So Greg says wallet bacon. I like that better than Charlie's suggestion of getting myself a man purse and doing purse bacon. So wallet bacon, that's their suggestion for me. Cynthia says get a motel room with the kitchenette. Yeah, I gotta check with my wife. She was talking about possibly getting a hotel 1 or 2 nights. But I don't know because they have additional bedrooms and they're gonna have a bed in the additional bedrooms. So we were thinking that we were gonna stay there too. But I think she was talking about getting a hotel 1 or 2 nights. So I don't know. I have to see what happens there. But if we do get a hotel, it would be nice to have something that has like the kitchen area where you can cook.
Brian, do you
Poor
have
Rick.
an electric frying pan?
I do not. Rick says every time I try and get a senior discount, it is a battle. They don't believe he's 57. They don't believe he's 57.
Right.
That's funny.
Probably think he's 31.
So you do have an electric frying pan though, right? Going back to that.
Yep. Yeah.
How does that how do you like that?
I use it every day. I don't ever turn the stove on anymore. Now, full disclosure, mine's got the non-stick stuff, so I need to get rid of that. But they do make one that's ceramic coated, and it's about $25 at Walmart. And you just plug it into a 110 outlet, and you put the lid on it, cook, or cook without the lid. And I use mine almost every single day. I need to go get me one that's either stainless steel or has the ceramic coating and get rid of that non-stick PFA stuff or whatever. But I use mine essentially every day, at least 5 days a week, because I can cook my bacon in it and then just pull the bacon out, and I have my eggs already scrambled, so I just dump it in the bacon grease, put the lid on it, wait a couple of minutes, shake it a little bit, and breakfast is ready. And then I only have that one thing to clean and I'm done. So it's very convenient. And pretty cheap. I think $25-$30 for the nice one.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Golden Corral menu lists their prime rib as contains gluten, soy, and wheat, but the ribeye has no allergens listed. That's interesting. I didn't know they had prime rib at Golden Corral.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I thought it was just whatever steak they have there.
I thought it was like sirloin, which sirloin's one of the cheaper ones, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know. Never understood the need for nonstick. I love my cast iron pan, and it'll give a nice sear to stuff too. But of course, you got to have a way to cook it, stovetop or whatever, right? It's not like you were talking about with the electrical frying pan. So, yep. All right, back caught up on comments. Did you have any others? I don't know if you had any other tips or hacks or anything. So if you don't, that's great. We didn't really plan it, so we're just going off the cuff here. Did you have any others ideas?
I don't have anything else, Brian, but I think we hit all the good ones. And you can go on my playlist on my channel, because I've eaten at about every restaurant in the Charlotte area, and I always do a quick how to stay carnivore at X, whatever the restaurant is. And there's always options, and you always ask the waiter or waitress if there's something that, like by the pound, or if I can get an option that's not on the menu. I've been surprised at how much stuff is not on the menu that they can actually do for you. And if you get a good waiter or waitress and they go the extra mile to help you with that, I always tip really nice, because it's cool that they'll help you out like that.
Yeah. I saw someone posting in a Facebook group that they went to Texas Roadhouse and they got one of the steaks, a ribeye or something, and they said that they didn't want any sides or anything because they were carnivore, so they just wanted the steak. And whoever the waiter was thought that was really cool and made sure that the cook cooked them up a bigger steak than what the size actually was supposed to be, and then just charged them the regular price for that size because they weren't getting any sides or anything. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think to try that sometime, but I don't know. We'll see. We got another question. Cynthia says, are you back on plan with your weightlifting since getting over your URI? URI. Why can I not figure out what URI is? Upper respiratory infection. There we go. So I have not worked out yet. And you may have seen some videos where I talked about this, but so when I went to the doctor and I had the bronchitis, they told me it was bacterial bronchitis and I needed an antibiotic. So they gave me an antibiotic and I took it for like 3 days and I was having really bad issues. One of the things was that messed with my gut microbiome, and apparently antibiotics can kill the ones that feed on oxalates. And I noticed that right away because my big toe, top of my foot, which had not had any issues for basically 3 years since going to Carnivore, suddenly swelled up. This finger swelled up. I think it was my left foot got a little sore. And so I stopped taking the antibiotic. About a day, the foot seemed to be better, but then the ankle on that foot started to swell up a little bit. So I had like 3-4 days or so, at least, of different things happening there. I also had bathroom issues, and some other things that happened, stomach cramping, which coincide completely with taking the antibiotic. So I've not started working out again, and I'm probably going to start again next week. And where I'm at is probably this week. I could have probably started working out again because that was all pretty much done by the end of last week. But I did not want to take the chance that there's still potentially some issues and have a flare up of some sort before having to do this move over the weekend. So yeah, I'm one of the people that has to do some of the heavy lifting in the move, with the furniture and stuff like that. So I didn't want to take that chance. So I haven't started working out yet again. Which I know this completely messed up the 60-day workout transformation I was doing. Because I was at like 40 days or 42 days. I was seeing some good progress, and then boom, I had to stop. But I am going to get back to working out hopefully next week, and we'll see how it goes from there. We're making Greg hungry for Texas Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. Rick's talking about portable gas grill for road trips. Definitely something I thought about. Florida roadkill. I'm not going down to Florida. I'm going to be in South Carolina, but probably find some good roadkill there too. So going back to Cynthia's question here about the weightlifting, it's going to be interesting to see because it's going to be like 3 weeks, I think, without working out at all, something like that, 3.5 weeks. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of setback I have had from not working out. how much harder my workouts are going to be. Johnny's been continuing to do his workouts. He's doing great. But I've had the setback. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I do intend to getting back into working out. I'm not going to, do anything more with the 60-day challenge because the time's already passed. It is what it is. But I'm going to keep working out, and maybe I'll do check-ins here and there saying, yeah, this is where I'm at with the working out and so forth. I will say this, though. I haven't gained any of the weight back, so I'm doing good there. Pretty much about where I was. So I think it's like a 3 pound or 4 pounds of weight loss, something like that. I've had measurements actually in the last 2 weeks. I've gone down another 1/2 inch in my belly button. So that's without any workouts, but also where I've been kind of eating like 2 to 3 times a day, which has been interesting. It has not affected me in terms of gaining fat, even though I've been eating more. Because my belly button went down a little bit, but the other measurements pretty much stayed the same. So, yep. All right. So we'll probably stay on here for a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions or anything that they want to put in chat. Just another reminder, I will be gone the next 2 Wednesdays. Johnny's going to still be going live. So the Carnivore Champion channel is the channel you want to be at for the next 2 weeks. So if you already go to his channel, you already know that one. If you've been going to my channel, go check out his channel, and we can actually put that in here. I think I got it somewhere, don't I? In the banners?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I think it's in the banner.
I gotta put it in here. I don't have it. Maybe I did before. Let's see. It's at the Carnivore Champion, right?
Correct.
Carnivore Champion. If I could spell. There we go. There we go.
Yep.
So that's the channel name that you're going to want to go to for the next couple of weeks. Cynthia has a question here. Any plans for a guest speaker, Johnny?
Well, I have a couple in mind. What are you doing next Wednesday, Cynthia? You want to fill in for one of them? We have two. Brian's going to be gone for 2, so I'm going to need 2 guests. I'd love to have you on if you're interested. At least one of them.
All right. And I know we were talking beforehand, and you were talking about potentially having a guest speaker. So yeah, that'd be cool. It's always works best, I think, when there's a couple people on than when you're there talking by yourself. Sometimes that can get a little hard to do, but for some reason I like to talk, so I am able to do it by myself. But that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Cynthia says that would be scary. I don't think so. Yeah. Well, I will say, though, I've been doing this a long time, like 2 years. So I guess I'm used to it. But it probably was scary at first. Nervous, so forth. But yeah, you get used to it.
I'll be here either way. I do have a couple other people in mind that I might reach out to. Some of them may actually be here in the chat, but I got to talk with them offline, make sure they're okay with it. But I have at least one person that that Brian and I talked about that would be kind of cool to have on here. But I got to reach out to that person. Maybe after the live stream, I'll reach out to that person and see if they're interested. I think you'll enjoy it. I think everybody would enjoy it. I know I would. But Brian, you talk about your weight. I'll give a little quick update on my weight. I've had a breakthrough. I've been stuck between 250.4 and 254.2 for 6 weeks. And with this fast and working out and getting out sweating, and I'm doing a cold plunge. I take a cold shower every morning for as long as I can stand it. And then I go sit in my car in the direct sunshine in the afternoon for a sauna experience. And I weighed today, I was 247.1. So finally got below that 250 mark. And I'm actually the smallest I've been since August 9th of last year. So if I lose about 4 or 5 more pounds, it'll be the smallest I've been since July of last year. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. It's nice to
Great.
finally get below that 250, because I'd get down to 250.8, 250.2, 250.6. And for whatever reason, it would just never drop below that 250. So through this 100-hour fast and all this working out, and hopefully I don't break the fast and put all that weight right back on and go back to 250. But I'm feeling pretty good. I tell you right now, I'm in a really good spot for how I feel, how my body feels, and this working out is really just adding to it.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question for the people that are watching. If you want to put this in the chat, because I asked this actually on Facebook earlier. I think I might have put it in a post on YouTube too, but it'd be interesting to hear what people think, what they say. When you started Carnivore, what was the most difficult thing you had to work through? And maybe it's even something that you're still struggling with now. So if anybody's got anything that they want to share, put it in the comments and we'll talk about it. And Johnny, while we're waiting for that, let me ask you the same question. When you first started Carnivore, what was the most difficult thing you had to work through?
Well, for me, Brian, it's pretty easy. There's two things that come to mind. The first and most obvious thing was after every meal, most of my life, and I got this from my parents. My dad still does this now, and he's 82 years old. We would always have dessert. I mean, we would have dessert every night. We would eat, and sometimes it would be ice cream with chocolate syrup, or it would be some type of cake that my mom would make. My dad's really a good baker, so he would make cakes. So all my life, when I finished eating my meal, I always had dessert. So of course, when I went carnivore, that was a huge change, because I've had something sweet after every meal for 56 years, when I started Carnivore. So that was, that's built in, it's like you get through eating and your body craves it, or you're thinking this is what you're supposed to do. So that was really, really tough to get past that. I'm completely past it now, although, I've fallen off the wagon a few times, and that usually was what would happen. I'd eat a good carnivore meal, then I'd, go in the truck stop or whatever and get me something sweet, because that just felt comfortable. It made, it was a comforting thing. But so that, and then one weird thing that happened, probably 4 weeks into Carnivore, about a month into Carnivore, and I don't know if it was oxalate dumping or something, but I had the most horrendous back pain that lasted for like a week to 10 days. It was unrelenting, and I didn't know what was going on. And I looked into oxalate dumping and stuff like that, and it was everything I could do not to just give in and get away from the diet. But people kept telling me online that it will pass, it will pass, it will pass. And finally it did. I woke up one morning, my back didn't hurt, and it hasn't hurt since then. So that was really tough to stick to the plan, because I was like an 8 out of 10 pain every single day. And then one day it just went away and it hasn't come back. But so not giving in to the sweets after a meal, and then not giving in when the back pain was about to kill me. Those two things were the toughest part for me to stick with the plan. Fortunately, all that's behind me, but those two things were pretty tough.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
I'd have to say that sugar cravings, craving carbs, that kind of thing was the toughest thing. And I'm the type of person that I just need to stay away from it. I can't do like ketovore or something where I just eat a little bit of that stuff and I'm okay. Because if I eat just one little thing, then the cravings just kick right back in. I'm like, oh, I've been doing good. I can eat that again, right? So that has been the hardest thing for me. It's not as hard as it used to be, but it's part way because I've learned I just need to stay away from those foods. I just can't eat them. Cynthia asked if you have any hints on who you have in mind. I'm guessing you probably can't really give any hints because you haven't really talked to anybody. So
yeah, I need to talk to this person. You'll enjoy it, I promise you. This person goes live themselves on YouTube sometimes, actually a lot of times. And this person is a lot of fun. He's funny, and he brings an air of levity. He brings levity to this whole conversation, and he's probably in the chat right now. And I'll give you a hint, it's a guy. But I've got to talk to that person first to make sure that he's on board with this. If not, that's fine. We'll come up with something else. But yeah, it's kind of everybody's favorite. But I got to talk to that person, make sure. I don't want to say it, and then he says, "Oh, I have no idea."
So that's a good hint there. He's a guy we know,
Mhm.
and we'll leave it at that. Okay, so a couple of people here saying what they struggled with. Bradley struggled with losing too much weight and not being able to eat enough because of gallbladder problems.
Yeah,
All
I've seen
right.
that a lot, more than I thought I would see. That's a pretty common thing in some of the
Yeah.
chat groups I'm in.
Yeah, it is. Cynthia says I was suicidal when I started Carnivore, so there is that. And no, my depression, suicidal thoughts are completely gone. So that's good. I've heard from a lot of people that they've had depression, really bad depression, and it was fixed with going to a carnivore diet, or at least the symptoms were much better, if not, completely out of it. So that's great. I'm happy for you. And so is Greg. Also I had muscle cramps for months and tried all the stuff. I think it is finally letting up, but still there. Mm. You know what's
Hey,
interesting?
Brian,
Yeah. Go
I was
ahead.
just going to say, a lot of people think that, you need to hydrate, drink a lot of water. And I subscribed to that for a long time. And so even though I was taking in extra salt and extra electrolytes, I was drinking so much water that I was flushing all that out. I think sometimes people think just drinking water will hydrate you and protect from the muscle cramps, but sometimes I think you can drink too much water. Dr. Berry says, drink when you're thirsty. And there for a while, I was trying to do a gallon of water a day, and I was having leg cramps, even though I was taking in, I used to buy the LMNT, the unflavored LMNT, and take those. Since I've backed off on the water, I don't drink nearly the amount of water I used to drink. And if I'm thirsty, I'll drink, but I'm not going to drink if I'm not thirsty. And from then to now, the muscle cramps have completely subsided. So it may be a case of, we'll say, overhydration or over water, and that's actually flushing out some of those electrolytes that even if you're supplementing with electrolytes, if you drink a lot of water, you're just flushing them right back out. I don't know that's the case with Bradley there, but that's something to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because when you go to the bathroom, you do lose electrolytes. So if you're drinking more water, you could be losing some of the electrolytes. What I was going to say is I've noticed since I've been sick here that I've had some leg cramps here and there. And I'm not exactly sure what is different, other than maybe I'm just lacking a little bit of electrolytes for some reason right now. So I have had some cases where I've taken some electrolytes. I've tried to be conscientious of using my Redmond salt as well. But yeah, I've definitely noticed some issues recently, which I wasn't having before. So that's interesting. I'm not sure what back inside is. He must have went outside, maybe to feed the ducks. Yep. Cynthia's leg cramps have gone back worse than ever lately. Perhaps I should cut back on liquids. Yeah, it could be. There's too much water. You just play it by ear and see. The other thing is maybe like something I do. So I have this, decent sized bottle here. It's 32 ounces, I think, or something like that of water. And I will usually take like a pinch of salt, put it in my mouth, let it dissolve a little bit, and then start drinking the bottle. And I'll do that with every bottle I drink. I might only drink like 2 to 3 bottles a day. But I do that because that helps get some of the electrolytes back into your body. So I definitely do that. All right. So we're at over an hour and a half. We're caught up on comments. So I think we're going to kind of call it a night. Again, next Wednesday, Johnny's going to be on, potentially with a special guest. I will be out. I'll be on the road probably because I'll be coming back Wednesday evening. So, again, at the Carnivore Champions, you see here, you can check out his channel, and I don't know if he's going to have a guest or not, but that channel at least will have everything. Excuse me. Anything last you want to say here, Johnny, before we close it out?
No, I just appreciate everybody watching. All the comments were fantastic. The interaction tonight was probably the best we've had so far, Brian. I really love it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and for interacting with us. This is a community, and we just need to grow the community and keep everybody engaged. And everybody can learn a little something. I learn something every show we do. So God bless y'all, and thank y'all for coming and joining us. And I look forward to, I'll be here the next 2 Wednesdays. May have a guest, may not. I've got 2 people in mind I want to talk to. And if we get those lined up, I will put it out on my socials. I'll put it on my Facebook. I'll do a short about it and let everybody know who the special guests will be. Other than that, thanks, Brian. I appreciate it, man. You've been fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, like Johnny said, for coming tonight. And Johnny, I'll see you next Wednesday. I can't even wave in the camera.
Everybody.
Bye, everybody.